Earth as a singular planet. In fact, it is anything but. For this is a story not of a universe, but a multiverse, where universes and planets, such as Earth, were replicated and mirrored across a vibrating, infinite plane. Some barely different from the next. Others drastically so.
This is DC On Screen. Every week, Dave and Jason talk about the multiverse of DC properties on film and television. But be warned, if it's been officially released, you can expect they'll spoil it.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 489. This episode we're going to be talking about Krypton Season 1, Episode 10, The Phantom Zone, the season finale of Season 1 of Sci-Fi's Krypton. Can't believe it's finally here. Like we actually were pretty sure that the show was never going to be made.
Yeah, for a long time.
It took so long for them to figure out a pilot.
Yeah.
But oh my goodness, we have a full season of Krypton under our belts. I'm your host, by the way, David C. Robertson. This is my co-host, Jason Guns.
Hello.
And before we jump into this review, I do want to point out that the cape with the DC On Screen sigil is fading. So if you want to do us the favor of preserving our future, you can pop over to iTunes and leave us a positive rating and review. Don't let General Zod win.
Spoilers, I suppose.
We were going in on spoilers. Our friend Effie from Stealing the Remote said spoilers at the top of the show there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now I will pull up the Krypton IMDb so that I can actually remember the people's names.
Oh.
I have Lyda and Seg.
Mm-hmm.
Seg.
Seg.
I know Seg.
Yeah.
Shut up. And Adam Strange.
That one's easy.
And the rest of them are hard.
Zod.
What? Well, I know General Zod, but while I'm watching the show and they're like, "Where's Jaina?" and I'm like, "Who? I don't know." And I'm hitting pause and looking it up and going, "Oh, yes, Jaina."
Oh, that character. Yes, I understand her.
I finally got Daron Vex. I finally figured him out,
and then it didn't matter.
And then people were like, Nissa, and I'm like, who? I have to go back and, man, these names, it was just so hard for me to keep up with it. Like, to figure out who these people were.
I mean, they set him up as an Iago. He wasn't going to matter. He was going to come in, screw some stuff up, betray a few people, and be gone.
Right. I still don't know his friend in the bar. What is that guy's name? Kim? Is that right?
I think it's Kemp.
Oh, no, it's Kim.
It's Kim?
I've got the IMDb pulled up. K-E-M. K-E-M.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, you guys will have to forgive me. I'm old and my brain still doesn't wrap around the whole Krypton thing.
Yeah.
But
a lot of unfamiliar characters.
Dude, this actually wrapped up into a pretty solid season finale, right?
Oh, sure.
Like, I mean, it's a little Planet of the Apes, Tim Burton version. When the L sigil becomes like, I don't know if it became the Zod sigil or the Zod L sigil, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that was pretty cool because I was like watching Seg. I'm going to keep saying Seg. I'm watching Seg. It's like your thing with saying Kara instead of Kara on Supergirl.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm watching Seg Al get pulled up into the Phantom Zone with Brainiac. And I'm like, but that bastard cape is still coming back. I don't understand. And then the sigil changed. I was like, oh, and oh man,
yeah.
Like Zod, like given this, and apparently it's funny to me that like Zod being in charge of Krypton basically means it's the future from Bill and Ted. Like all of those people were dressed like 90s future Bill and Ted people.
That's been too long.
Even that chamber looked a little like the 90s Bill and Ted future thing. Anyway.
Nice.
So maybe someone will remember that and be like, totally, man. Rock on.
Maybe
Dave.
there will be a reference in the new one. And I can catch up to you.
Right. So, yeah. Do you buy that Seg is Zod's pappy?
Not completely.
Oh. Was that crazy or did Jaina, like, actually get kidnapped by her brother? Like, was there a guy who had the weird eye thing?
Oh.
Like her brother? Was it the last we saw of her?
It's possible. It's for sure possible. Like her fate, I don't know. I think they just didn't have time to deal with it completely, and kind of left that one for the future. But she played a nice role of being like the person who, when you get about 70% through this series, which is easy to do since they did it in 10 episodes, percentages are great for this. when you get about that far in, she's the one who points out, no, we can't trust him. We can't trust. No, he's not. He ain't good. He ain't a good.
He ain't a good one.
I really liked. Honestly, if you picked a character, I think any given character in this season or series so far, I think I would say, hey, I really like their arc. Mm-hmm. Like, seriously, the only criticism of the show is that it could have moved faster at times.
Absolutely. Like, that was my big thing. Like, I'm sitting there watching this show and going, I mean, normally I'll watch, like, the CW shows and go, like, they could have used 13 episodes instead of 23. Here, I'm sitting there watching a 13-episode thing going, they could have used 7 or 8 episodes instead of 13. Like,
yeah.
Lots of long conversations in caves, you know?
One of the things that confuses me about it, though, is it's one of the more visually stunning shows in anything we cover. Mm-hmm. Like, the Phantom Zone alone in this episode was gorgeous.
Well, I mean, Larry Fong can shoot grass grow, man.
It'll
be gorgeous.
It all looked phenomenal. Like, Brainiac's ship looked fantastic. Brainiac looked fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. There
was no version of his character that I didn't like. Like the head of Rao, that's one of the creepiest pseudo deities I've ever seen.
Yeah, the voice of Rao.
The voice of Rao. That like.
Like my wife Bethany keeps calling it the face of Rao, and I totally get it. And you keep calling it the head of Rao, and I'm like always trying to like restart my brain, going like, no, it's the voice of Rao. Like you guys are like fighting for like dominance of my mind.
No, but you're the
what
perfect
to call this creature.
Ground. But like the head part is the part that I keep focusing on. Is like it's so creepy, all the little faces around, and then you undo that, and it's I forget the actor, but he did a great job. Like, I haven't seen his name since Casting News came out, and I mean, just haven't looked up in IMDb. But he did a great job, and he did a great job with these wonderfully creepy eyes, and then they turned him into full Brainiac, and I thought, oh my god, I cannot believe we live in an age where I've got, like, this funny Brainiac 5 on one station, and I've got, like, true creepy Brainiac on another. It's a wonderful time. Right.
You know, with all of the face of Rao mask and everything, I was like, oh man, they're gonna take off that mask, and it's gonna be like a real reveal as to who this guy is, you know. But instead, it wound up like Lex Luthor inside of Flash's body, just pulling off the mask and going, I have no idea who this is.
Yeah.
I was like, at least let it be some kind of legacy casting. I mean, come on, Dean Cain or whatever, you know.
No. This guy did a good job. What I don't know who they turned away.
Oh my gosh, you know who should have been? Should have been Tom Welling.
No. Too distracting. They were world building here. Like, just let them do it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Not a recognizable face in the crowd from my perspective. I literally cannot remember anything I've seen any of these actors in before.
Yeah, I don't know of anybody from anything.
I got nothing. I mean, I could probably IMDb it again and find like, oh yeah, I saw him here and her here or whatever. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But what I do know is at this point, all those faces, they're those characters. Whether we can remember their names, different problem. I mean, it worked for me. I don't think I'd have had it any other way.
I'm very interested to see more of, I mean, I don't know if it was Ron proper, but I'd like to see more of Sardath and, what's his daughter's name? I can never remember it.
I don't either, but the
it's Adam Strange's
intermittent love interest of Adam Strange, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, for my life, I could not pull that name out right now.
I normally have it on the top. Well, I don't. I usually have trouble within like a letter or so of remembering her name. I'm just gonna look it up.
Go for it.
My mind is not what it used to be. But anyway, I'm really interested in finding out like what his full story is, because she was clearly like, you know, Alana. I knew it. That was the name in my head, and I was like, I didn't trust myself. Yeah. So Alana was like, you know, you don't care about me or whatever. And
the theme was very much, I've seen you try before and you failed. You failed me emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I want to see the backstory of all of that. I want to see what happened.
I wouldn't mind it at all. have you seen the theory online that like where he is right now? Have you seen the theory of where he is right now that people are?
I've seen the theory. I've seen that people have theories.
Sure.
But I haven't looked into them because my own theory was that he existed in an Earth that had been taken by Brainiac in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know how else to interpret that.
That's the only thing I can come up with. I don't know how he would have gotten there. Is the crazy part. Like, I don't know how he was from the future, hangs out in the past, and then ends up in his own present tense in a future where Earth is taken over, and there's a Zod that looks like this version of Zod. Like, here's the only thing I know. That version of Zod went back in the past, too. So, the only people that we know have gone back in the past are Adam Strange and Zod. And those are the only people that appear in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do love the theory that it's Metropolis that he's stuck in, because it makes sense.
Sure.
And it's just a nice touch kind of thing, right?
I just figured that Zod wound up going to Earth and imprisoning it after taking over Krypton. He goes to Earth, takes over Earth, and then Brainiac somehow escapes and still takes Earth.
Yeah, it's not even if Brainiac escapes. The thing that occurs to me is like whatever it was that allowed him to jump was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up in his own present time, and in his present, everyone else is frozen except him and the memory of Zod. Mm-hmm. So I do like the idea that like Zod is maybe on Earth at the time, and Brainiac keeps his promise that he'll spare Krypton, but eventually does take Zod himself. Kind of like that
takes
idea.
Zod. It was just a statue of Zod.
I just like the idea that he happened to be there at the time, and that Brainiac kind of has a revenge.
Sure. Well, like maybe Zod, getting greedy and taking over Earth causes Brainiac to come to Earth in the first place and take the city that Zod is in as, revenge.
Oh, yeah.
Because we know
that'd be nice.
Like Brainiac's next world was not Earth.
Yeah, they pointed out it's something 400.9 or so whatever. Sigma or something.
Omicron Sigma something. I don't know.
I think the word Sigma was involved. I don't know. There's a lot of language in here. But this is the other thing that's confusing about it is the cape still exists, which means Kandor falls, which means Krypton falls. Or if it's not Kandor, I don't know, Argo City, whatever. The planet falls.
Not necessarily.
Well, true. Yeah.
The cape could just be like different offspring going to Earth. He could go to Earth as Zod's own general,
his emissary,
like taking his emissary or general, taking an army with him of Sagittarii to take over the Earth.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, you're absolutely
because
right.
Zod knows that like one of his big things is he wanted all the Kryptonians to have the powers of the Yellow Sun.
Yeah.
Even if Krypton
had not even that could
fall.
Be Zod's cape at this point. Like
Zod
himself.
Even if Krypton has to fall for whatever reason, because I didn't see I saw some people saying like, oh, Brainiac sabotaged it. Maybe not. But even if
Brainiac is a calculating dude.
He could have made it to where Krypton had to fall.
But even as he's being sucked up into the Phantom Zone, he doesn't look too panicked. Which, come on,
no,
a guy who's been around for a while in this version maybe doesn't look too panicked. I can live with that. But even if it's a desperate reach, he still grabs a pretty important object and changes the outcome. Like he apparently is still calculating things as he's being sucked up into the Phantom Zone. So,
I mean, maybe I just missed something. I didn't see where it was implicitly stated that he causes Krypton to blow up, but that makes sense. I mean, it's been written into canon or into various canons before that that Brainiac takes a city and then also causes that civilization to fall through blowing up their planet because he doesn't want anyone else to.
Well, in this version,
civilization
they hit it several times. In this version, Kandor's absence destabilizes the planet, and it's all over.
Yeah. But I mean, even if he doesn't get to take Kandor, he could have still sabotaged it somehow. But
easily.
Zod wanted to take everybody to Earth anyway because he wanted to give them all powers.
Yeah. At the very least, I hadn't even thought about that when I saw the crest, change. He's giving this extremely It's not even militaristic. It's like this. We're gonna take over the universe kind of speech. It didn't occur to me that like, yeah, maybe he takes over the universe by actually going himself and taking over Earth and embodying the Yellow Sun powers. Mm-hmm. Easily could be what's happening.
Yeah. So we still have a Doomsday. Doomsday's breaking out.
Yep.
And Val didn't seem to be too happy about the version of Doomsday getting out.
He kept
when he
saying
saw
it's
the
worse.
future. Yeah. We don't know what happened to Fetus Vex.
Fetus Vex. That's presumably safe. And the idea of like Nyssa Vex and Jax-Ur in the same room is frightening. Mm-hmm.
We don't know where
that's
Nyssa...
a lot of cunning in the same room.
Like, we know Nyssa and Jax-Ur show up and hang out with Val for a minute, and they're probably going to be the people to, like, try to turn this shit around next season.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not sure what the implication was necessarily of, like, by the way, you're a clone because your body was too wrecked from a thing. And she's, like, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm like, I think I would be like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Oh, no.
Wait, you have a clone? Oh, man, I'm like Wolverine or something.
Yeah.
I've got
it's
implanted
not like you're
memories.
A Wolverine. It's like you...
Well, with the implanted memories, I am.
It's more like you're just thrown into a fresh body with the idea that you're you.
Yeah.
It's like someone wrote your code and just said, here you go.
Ah.
That is frightening. Like, it's not even that someone took her... I don't remember what age they said when the skimmer went down. Let's assume she was 10. It's not like someone took your 10-year-old memories and transferred them to a clone body and just said, hey, go about your day and we'll just forget the skimmer. We'll rewrite that. It's more like there was just enough neural activity and we put it in a clone body that was a blank slate and then we implanted this amount of your history and then here you go. Yeah. And then they kind of spin the idea and in the course of it. I like this though. Like Jax-Ur's idea was we can erase disease. Like we can keep people alive, and apparently the elite used it to just keep themselves alive.
Yeah.
Kind of in their situation, obviously how that would go, to be honest.
Sure.
And it makes sense to me that like someone would just be super pissed that they're just like a clone with a vague neural connection to their own actual original self and feel lied to. That tracks.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I absolutely think some people would be bothered by it. I'm just saying, I don't think I would be. I feel like I'm just a body that someone wrote some code and threw the code into anyway. Like, I don't necessarily feel much different than that concept.
I mean, as fun as that idea is to explore, any version of a reaction to it is kind of justifiable.
Sure. I can't help but wonder.
Like if you went through exactly what she did and thought, oh my God,
I hope they have
science
something
is great. I'm still alive.
Well, yeah,
and we're excited about it.
Yeah, that's kind of where my brain was really, but I really hope they have a good storyline for that worked out or something, because if they never go back to it, I'm sort of like, well, who the hell cares? She already knew that her dad was a liar. She's already turned against the guy. I mean...
Well, I think that's the point, though, is...
cementing that?
Well, Jax-Ur, like, she sees that she has kind of betrayed what she was born into, and then she goes back for her child. Mm-hmm. What was his name? Yeah, whatever his name was. Doesn't matter yet.
Fetus Vex. That's what I remember.
Fetus Vex. Oh, Carvex.
Corvex?
Corvex. That sounds good. Corvex must live. Like, he goes back, she goes back for him and is super protective of that. Like, I like the idea that Jax-Ur sees that she has actually changed and still kind of calls her out and like, you don't think people can change. And even sees Nyssa she kind of bucks that idea even in being confronted with that idea. Like, it's kind of nice. Mm-hmm. Like, there may be a lot to their story that could be a lot of fun.
I know there are a lot of people already shipping them over Lyda and Seg. Which is comical to me.
There has to be something. There's not a Vex in that family tree historically. Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, I think Fetus Vex is fine, and Nyssa's new mentor is definitely Jax-Ur.
Uh-huh. Sure. Well, I hope the next season is better. Like, I hope it's faster paced. I hope it's easier to follow. Like, it wasn't like terribly difficult to follow. It was just so slow that I would kind of like drift out a little bit. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and I felt
for sure.
bad because what they did, they really did well. You know what I mean? Like when it was engaging, it was super engaging, and then it would just like I don't need another strange clan of like Nordic Kryptonians in a cave somewhere. You know?
Yeah.
Guarding a doomsday, like
And
didn't need any of that.
It's not even that it didn't need that. It didn't end up really mattering.
Yeah.
Doomsday's
But,
out. Like let's like the little girl. I can't remember her name. For God's sake, we've addressed that. Oh, well done. So we remember her
Zona.
name.
No, I am sitting here with an IMDb.
You've
I've
got
said
that.
it like
Okay.
twice, 2 or 3 times. Like they don't have. There's no casting for Fetus Vex.
No, I mean the little acolyte. The
Yeah. Oh, that was heartbreaking.
voice of Rao acolyte. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. It was a great
Oh.
scene. Loved everything that happened with her and Kim, but it was ultimately like not something that maybe goes into season 2.
Sure, that's.
It was
I don't-
a lot of. I don't know. It was good. It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something we spent a lot of time on, and all I really know is that like at the end of that, Kim just kind of thinks like I couldn't even save her, and then he's in a line of conscripted soldiers. Like that's
Yeah. Well, I mean, all the Rankless were.
yeah.
Like, I kind of dig that like Zod was just like, you know what?
Oh, that's
These
totally what he
Rankless,
did. Totally.
Yeah, I'll find a.
Those are warm bodies, man. Put a
They're
gun
gonna
in their
be-
hand and threaten them.
They're gonna be cannon fodder. That's what
Yeah.
they're gonna be.
Even like Kim's little disdainful look when he's handed the helmet. Yeah, like I like that guy.
Which, I mean, what else are you gonna do? Like, Lyta sent like an entire squadron to Brainiac, like everybody they had left, and he just like killed them all
With his
flick
palm.
of
Yeah.
a flick of a finger. You know?
Yeah. Just wish them dead. Yeah.
I'd like a little clarification on that, but I guess he's into all of their systems and everything.
I mean, you say that, but he
Flicked his finger and
apparently-
threw Seg across the room. I don't know.
and telepathic, telekinetic, and telecybernetic. I don't know. Apparently, he's got all these abilities in this version.
Yeah. He looks badass, so I'm gonna buy it.
He looks badass, and he's sold it.
Yeah, he did. He sold it.
That was a good actor. Whoever they
Good
had.
job. Yeah.
I liked where he paused. I couldn't name an example of this, but I liked where he paused when he was going to say words. I just remember
The guy's
that.
name is Blake Ritson.
Good job, Blake.
He was also the voice of Rao. Like
As-
that was actually his face. So Brainiac just became like a green version of that dude.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. You can see that in makeup.
I couldn't quite tell in the makeup, honestly.
Not good. Had to do with his
Bone
mouth area.
structure.
It was the mouth area. You could see it.
I'm glad you could. I couldn't. Good job.
Thank you. Also,
I'm not as good or smart as you.
at least we have that under control.
It's good to know where we stand, huh?
At least we know that. Going, into things where I will continually harry myself. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Nice to have this moment.
This magic moment.
And then I'll forget something within 10 seconds. It'll be great. By the way, one of my favorite things possibly about the season, kind of bookending like the appearance of the cape and the reappearance of the cape with that theme.
John Williams theme.
The classic John Williams orchestra theme. There's not a version of that where it appears, and that appears on screen, and I hear those notes that doesn't just make me kind of whimper a little bit as a physical human being. I will always just kind of quiver. It's just I don't know, built into me.
Yeah. I think that theme may have tricked me into thinking that Justice League was a better movie than it was. Sincerely, like I think I may have just like heard that and went, "Yes, Daddy."
It's possible. I don't know what kind of programming worked on some of us and didn't on others. I don't know. But what I do know is every time I see that, I melt a little bit.
Same with the Elfman Batman theme. They had both in Justice League, so I think that might explain a little bit what happened to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Krypton like is not a. Overall I have not looked forward to it like any episode, but I've always been like kind of like, all right, that was pretty good. It's just one of those weird. It's one of those weird things where like I don't look forward to it, and then I always enjoy it somehow.
I think it's just a product of there being so much that we're a little exhausted.
Maybe. It is a premise that like I don't expect it to go into any unknown uncharted territories. Like I don't expect it to be like, well, guess what? There's no Superman now, and that's how the show ends. Like I don't expect that at all.
Yeah, that's the thing that we've been bored by is, and I'll give the show credit. We've been bored by the idea that like, yeah, Superman exists. That's your stakes. And then they introduced a few characters, and over 10 episodes, they did build in. Like, I do kind of care about these characters. Like, they did make them matter, and now they've kind of made the appearance or disappearance of Superman in the future ambiguous. We don't know what actually caused him to appear or disappear. It's kind of the best they could have done.
Yeah, I think it's a show with a very, very flawed premise.
I mean, as far as my emotional connection, sure, but I think that I think they did the best they could have with that premise
so far. I mean, I don't think they did the best they could. Like I said,
we're still talking about
Nordic.
pacing.
I don't need Nordic Kryptonians in caves. I just don't. I mean, there's just like a bunch of Kryptonians with like spears going. I mean, I don't know what any of that is. I don't know.
I would have really enjoyed it if it mattered, but all that amounted to was like an entire episode of a group of people that their entire purpose was to be the entity that let Doomsday loose. Like, that's all that ended up being.
Oh man. Yeah, I feel like they could have cut out a few episodes, but I feel like that about everything these days, I guess. You know?
It's, even being a fan of all these products, it's adding up, buddy.
It really is. I'll watch season 2, obviously, though. Like, I will.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a bad show. It was pretty good.
No, damn good. Visually stunning at times.
Visually stunning.
And I shouldn't even say at times. It always looked good, and then at times it was stunning. Like, there wasn't a moment where I thought, this looks like this is a bad shot.
Yeah.
The cinematography, the effects on the show were, honestly, like, for all the shows we watch, if they all lived up to what this show just pulled off in 10 episodes, it'd be an entirely different caliber.
Oh, yeah, I guess I messed up earlier and said that Krypton was 13 episodes and it was really just 10. I forgot about that again. I keep feeling like it was 13 episodes.
It was
pacing,
10.
Y'all. Pacing. Yeah. Wound up caring about Seg-El and all these people a lot more than I thought I would, for sure.
I did. I ended up caring about several of them, like, by the end of the pilot. It's didn't take an entire season. It was a good season, man. It was a good show.
Yeah.
More than I was expecting, and I have to admit, due to circumstances beyond their control, some of my expectations were lower than that they were deserving of. And they still fulfilled those. Still made me pretty happy.
All right, well, I think that's all about all I have. How you feeling?
I'm good.
All right. All right, so we're DC On Screen. You can find every episode for free at dconscreen.com. We are contactable through dconscreen@gmail.com, or we're also on Twitter at dconscreen. You can also find us on Facebook at dconscreen, Instagram, dconscreen. It's a pattern here. And if you do enjoy the show and want to help us out, help other people find us, again, pop over to iTunes. We'll have that link in the show notes. Give us that review, that positive rating and review. Tastes like candy on my tongue.
Sure helps.
It absolutely does help. Anyway, I don't think we have any more reviews for season finales until Supergirl in June.
Yep.
It's like almost a month away.
Yep.
So what's going to happen is we're going to do like a big-ass news episode coming up.
Yeah.
But until that time, keep some DC on your screen. Our opening narration was from Dan Jurgens' The History of the DC Universe, Part 3 of 10, as featured in DC 52, Week 4. It was performed by me, David C. Robertson. Intro music by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Future Elevators, could be found on Spotify or future-elevators.com. Our introduction was performed by Effie Ophelders of the fantastic podcast Stealing the Remote, which lives on SoundCloud. It can also be found on iTunes and Stitcher. We are proudly in partnership with TV Time, the TV show calendar and social media site that lets you keep track of what you're watching, what your friends are watching, and where you all left off. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. Visit maladjusted.tv for more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, an improvised web series, vlogs, parodies, and more.
Are you